fight number one had an argument between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano for either side. Fight number two, I think, had an argument for either side, but a strong one for Serrano. I think most people would say Serrano at least won the second one. I think the first one is more split. And then the third fight, Katie Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start over there. So Bryan, in terms of atmosphere, when you were there, what was the vibe like? I heard it was like sold out. We saw it was happening in there. They were playing Tupac Hit 'Em Up in between rounds, and I was like, "Oh, this is a vibe." What was it like in there?
It was crazy. That's the loudest I've heard New York City be for a Puerto Rican fighter since Miguel Cotto's retirement fight in 2017. That's a long time. It also gives you an idea of like the sort of lack of stars from Puerto Rico or representing Puerto Rico. Right now, Amanda Serrano's been the biggest one pretty much since Miguel Cotto's retirement or something along those lines. We know it was supposed to be redacted, but he's in prison for obvious reasons. And it looked like a Top Rank was going to build him up to be that guy, but he lost around the time Miguel Cotto retired, I think slightly after I was at that fight. I was going to do a story on him and Christopher Diaz and Jose Pedraza as some big Puerto Rico thing or whatever. And then it just ended up being on Christopher Diaz because, dude lost. Then Jose Pedraza had a meh win. Anyway, last Friday, not last night. Oh, well, technically, actually last night. Yeah, it was the loudest that I've heard it for a while. Katie Taylor also had a support. She also had a lot of like, you want to talk about communities in New York City, Irish, you ever been to New York City for St. Patrick's Day and around that time of the year?
I guess it's wild.
Or when a big time fighter from Ireland or even the UK in general just fights out here. The first boxing card I ever covered, I've mentioned this on the show plenty of times, was main evented by Carl Frampton and Leo Santa Cruz. And Carl Frampton, the support that he had from people there were people crying after he beat Leo Santa Cruz in that fight. Crying. And it was a majority decision. Fantastic fight. One of the best, still one of my favorite cards that I've ever covered in person. Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, the atmosphere was crazy. All the women, first of all, Guinness World Record for most championships on the line in one single card. They did that with all women. Now, I will say a couple of the fights were probably one-sided, but the card top to bottom, I delivered overall. The weakest fight on the card ended up probably being the main event.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, which we'll get to. But, this, ironically for me, was the most one-sided of all the fights because I think fight number one had an argument between Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano for either side. Fight number two, I think, had an argument for either side, but a strong one for Serrano. I think most people would say Serrano at least won the second one. I think the first one is more split. And then the third fight, Katie Taylor. Yeah, I thought she won 7 rounds to 3, which is what 2 of the judges had. I hated Amanda Serrano's game plan. It looked like she was trying to become more of a counterpuncher. She seemed to be struggling to find the range the entire night.
So here's my question about that to you, Bryan.
Yeah.
Why would she change the game plan? Because it seemed to have worked in the last fight. It's just the judges didn't see it that way. Do you feel like she went that route and she was trying to box on the outside as well? Because she was trying to get a different decision? Like, why do you think that she just didn't stick with that game plan? Because it didn't make sense because I think the fans thought she took the second one for sure. But also, even in the first one, it was like, I thought she won the first one. So it's like, why would you go ahead and change your game plan if so far that's worked against Katie Taylor?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. Some people joke that she was scared of getting headbutted. I don't think that's the case, but I mean, why would you be? But I don't know. And we talked about how fighters can age from fight to fight. I'm not saying she's shot, but I do think maybe there was a little bit of an admission there. We might look back on it and be like, oh, maybe she couldn't turn it up from a volume standpoint the way that she should have. I thought Katie Taylor did a great job of managing the distance. She was getting in and out very easily at times. her speed is, she still has some of the fastest hands in boxing at damn near 40 years old, Katie Taylor. Her accuracy was more apparent. I thought Amanda Serrano won rounds 8, 9, and one of the first couple. That's it. 8 and 9 were rounds that Katie Taylor kind of took off. But Amanda Serrano, like, she wasn't throwing to the body enough. She wasn't really establishing her offense that much. Like she was, and a lot of the punches that it'll say she threw were ultimately like rangefinders, were ultimately like just short shots to try to set up other shots that she couldn't really establish. Like it was just a befuddling performance. And it was the most decisive of the three fights. I thought Katie Taylor won it, and I thought won it pretty easily. But I thought they were going to rob her because I
Yeah.
thought they were going to potentially make up the last fight, but Amanda didn't give them enough to even get that close. So I thought Katie Taylor, like, listen, she has a GOAT case. You know what I mean? Like she's got some very close decisions, and people would say that she's gotten some favorable judging in the past. In certain fights, like the first two Serrano fights, for example, but it doesn't stop there. But she has a GOAT case for the women. And Eddie Hearn did say, like, he thinks she's one of the best boxers we've seen. I mean, look at her resume. Look at who she's beaten.
Does the GOAT case hurt Amanda at all because she lost this fight? Or do you think she's still right now? You could argue that she's the GOAT.
Katie Taylor?
Amanda.
Oh, well, I mean, she's going to have the three losses on the record. Even if I think and you think that she probably won the first two, definitely the second. I thought she edged out the first one as well, but it's going to say 0 and 3. And ultimately for Amanda, it's also like she was moving up in weight. Like apparently she's planning on continuing fighting at 126, which is her more natural weight class, but she's won titles in 7 different weight classes. Like they're both on women's boxing Mount Rushmore all time. Like I know
Yeah.
Layla Ali and Ann Wolf and others came earlier, but I mean, it's the same thing we do in rap, where like a lot of people would say Rakim is the GOAT, or Kool Moe Dee, or Big Daddy Kane is like up there or whatever. But it's like, yeah, but I mean, and you get credit for, it's a different category. You get credit for innovating the style, the multi-syllabic rhyming and things of that nature. But then Nas comes out in 1994 with Illmatic, takes it to a different level, and has a way, 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 way longer career. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, like that's just how it works. So like with Layla Ali and Wolf and others, you get pioneer points for sure. But then at some point you get to like, listen, Clarissa Shields has accomplished a lot. Katie Taylor has an
Yeah.
incredible resume. Amanda Serrano did this in all these different weight classes. And it's like they're ultimately like they have better resumes. Like you could say Rakim is the GOAT, but like compare his discography to Nas. Same thing with KRS-One. Like it is what it is. So I think with Amanda, I mean, not winning any of these sucks, even if you feel like she won the first two, but ultimately it's going to be 0 and 3, and that's what it was.
Do you think Katie retires after this? Like, what do you think is next? Because, we were talking about this a little bit off air, but apparently someone asked her if she would like that rematch with Shantelle Cameron, and she kind of threw shade at Shantelle Cameron, if I'm not mistaken.
She did. She was like, she says something along the lines of like Shantelle Cameron not being able to fill out a 1,000 seat arena. We posted the
But
press conference. We posted the press conference. We posted the
but let's
interviews
not
and stuff.
forget, Shantelle Cameron dominated her in the first fight. Like Katie moved up thinking, hey, I'm going to take over this weight class now, and Shantelle Cameron was like, nah, hold up, wait a minute, I'm going to dominate you in every round of this fight. And yeah, Shantelle Cameron might not have the cachet of the name that Katie Taylor has, but I don't think Katie Taylor comes up ever and beats her again. Like I think Katie knows that she's not beating Shantelle Cameron. There's no way she beats
I'd
her in
like to see
Shantelle
that.
Cameron's weight class.
No, Katie's non-committal on whether she'll fight again. She's not retiring
Yeah.
definitively, but so we'll see. And for people dropping in late, we will get back. We will round up with comments and stuff because we talked about Berlanga and all that stuff already. But we'll get back to it. Don't worry about it. We're just on Friday night now, but yeah, like I think with Katie Taylor, like I'd like to see her fight in Ireland again because I don't feel like she's done that enough throughout her career. Croke Park, they mentioned. I'd like to see Shantelle Cameron. I don't think it needs to be that. And with
Yeah.
Amanda Serrano, there are fights to make too. So like it was just a tough one. The rest of the card though, like there's a lot there that I think is worth talking about. But as far as what's next for each, like I think you could go in a
Whatever they
lot of
want to
different
do.
directions. Yeah,
Yeah,
honestly,
whatever
yeah,
they essentially want to do. And, if Amanda moves down to her natural weight class at 126, then I think there is a possibility maybe she fights an Alycia Baumgardner, and we should talk about her because what did you think about Alycia Baumgardner's performance? Because from everything that I saw, underwhelming.
I thought she lost the fight.
I think a lot of people thought that. I think a lot of people thought that Alycia Baumgardner lost that fight. And here's the thing, she just got pinched for PEDs not too long ago. She hired someone to do the investigation, and it came out that, and then nothing really came out about it. It was really hush hush. Comes back and she's in a performance that she should have won, and she did. On paper she won, but I think a lot of people thought that she lost that fight, Bryan. And you yourself, you were in the building when
Yeah,
the scorecards got read out. Like, what was the vibe
way
like?
too
Like,
wide. It was way
okay.
too wide. Jennifer Miranda, I said it here. I was like, man, I kind of think she's being underrated because she's from Spain and people don't watch boxers from Spain like that. But as somebody who now loves Spain, having been there all of one time, I thought Jennifer Miranda like had a shot to make this interesting. And I thought she won 6 rounds to 4. I was like, what did Alycia Baumgardner do? You know what I mean? In the fight
Mm.
to warrant 98-92, which is outrageous. 97-93 was, I thought, kind of crazy. Draw, okay, but like I don't see how she won in dominant fashion. Miranda was physical with her and really established her jab early. And she kept landing straight right hands also. Like she was landing some of these punches and it was tricky. And she was pushing the pace and things of that nature. Pulled up the punch stats here. If you're looking at it round by round, again, I always say punch stats not always indicative of how a fight is scored, how a fight goes, not always accurate either, in my opinion. Like for sure, I can remember more than one punch landing in round 1 from Jennifer Miranda, but they have read 1 for 16. But if you're looking at it just from a punch stats perspective, Miranda outlands her in round 3, matches her in round 4, outlands her in 6, outlands her in 8, matches her in round 9. And then the accuracy numbers. In totality, by the way, Jennifer Miranda outlands her by 1 punch, throws a lot more. She was busier. I don't feel like what Alycia Baumgardner landed was like all that impactful. If you look at the power punches here too, jabs 26-24 for Alycia Baumgardner, power punches 55-52 for Jennifer Miranda, only 2.5 percentage points worse. But like you saw how noticeable some of those punches were, and I think it caught Alycia Baumgardner off guard because one, it's been a while. She mentioned this at the press conference. It's been a while since she's fought 10 rounds, so there's that. 2, Derek James, that was new. You got to get accustomed to a new trainer. Takes a minute, and then 3, it's also just Jennifer Miranda having like barely any stoppages in her career, and then coming in and having a game plan where like she was like the bigger person in there. She dominated in round 8. I thought she was better in round 7, but 6, like a lot of these mid to late rounds, 3, 1, like I gave her 6 rounds in this fight for sure. But I wasn't surprised that Alycia Baumgardner got the win because the fight was giving major Alycia Baumgardner's going to, or Jennifer Miranda's going to get disrespected by the judges' vibes because Alycia Baumgardner is new to MVP and they obviously want to build her into being a bigger star than she already is. So you're on mute.
It's getting
Once per
late, guys.
episode. Once per episode.
It didn't happen last episode. I will say this: the one thing that I noticed was the Derek James thing. Usually, when you get with a new trainer, it's a little bit of an adjustment. You don't see them just like come out and be extremely aggressive. They're, a little bit. And I felt like we saw that with Alycia, but also I don't feel like she was listening to anything Derek James was saying in the corner because they went to it and like Derek James is giving her some great advice. And Alycia is nodding her head and goes out there and does the complete opposite, is not even listening to him. So I'm like, what is going on here? But that was something that I noticed. But I think this
By
is
the way, Jennifer Miranda technically could fight Amanda Serrano next. And I think that'd be an interesting fight because Jennifer Miranda naturally is a featherweight. So that's another thing. She was moving up in weight.
interesting, but I think MVP is going to try to make the biggest money fight. And I think we are going to get Alycia Baumgardner and Amanda Serrano.
You do? Okay.
I think we're going to get it. they're under the same type of management now. It's one of the biggest fights that you can make in boxing. And here's the thing, I think at this point, Amanda takes the L from Katie Taylor, and I think right now all the conversation about everything has stopped because I think Katie Taylor proved like, hey, all that talk, I just dominated in this third fight. Amanda is still not only the face of Puerto Rican boxing, not only the face of women's boxing, despite how great Katie Taylor is. Just, you know what I mean? Also, you got to add in Clarissa Shields. She has a movie out. She's my goat. Like, you know, I
She was
haven't
there
won
tonight.
A1B. Yeah, and she was cheering on Shakur like crazy, of course. She's Team Shakur. But I will say that she's still the face of boxing. You know, I've said this before. Amanda, like the way that she is viewed now, she's one of the biggest faces of boxing, and that is going to continue. And I think that's why a fight like this can get made. As for Alycia Baumgardner, there's a lot of questions more than ever.
Alycia Baumgardner, 16-1, 7 knockouts. The one came very early in her career. So the whole PED thing was after this fight against Cristina Linardatu, who, by the way, is the person who beat Alycia Baumgardner in 2018. Yeah, very early on.
That was
split
her
decision.
only one loss. Yeah,
she wanted to avenge this. Christina was being promoted by Lou DiBella ahead of this fight, and Lou DiBella was one of the only people in boxing like, yo, like we should actually take this test seriously. These are 2 tests, and we did the episode here where I was like, oh, these are steroids that have been linked to people like Alex Rodriguez, for example, and other legitimate former baseball players who were suspended. You know what I mean? Like for some serious shit. Other cyclists and things like that had this in their system, and she just kind of gets cleared. So she takes the year off. She comes back against Delphine Persoon. That was the same night as a couple of other fights. I think one of them was that Michaela. I think it was. Yeah, it was. It was Michaela Mayer and was it Sandy Ryan? I want to say it was Sandy Ryan. Xander Zayas fought. Julius Randle got traded from the Knicks for Karl Anthony Towns. Like a lot of shit happened that night, so nobody watched this fight. It was like it was.
I also think Donald Trump got shot that day too. It was the same day, right? It's not funny. I think that's the day he got shot at. His ear. I swear that was, or was that another day? I don't know.
I have an amazing thing I can say, but I don't want to get banned.
That's what I knew, by the way. That's what I knew he was going to win the election. Because, like, y'all Americans love guns.
Yeah,
no, I'm
listen,
being
Miss
serious.
Canada, we can't listen. We're down bad over here. All right.
I don't want to say anything. I gotta go back to Seattle tomorrow, so I'll be quiet. But I'm saying y'all love guns. You know what I mean? So I just remember seeing that visual.
Not here, not in New York. No,
yeah,
we don't.
It's not a carry state, but still, when you talk about the amendments or whatever, right?
God, we don't need them problems.
We didn't need to talk about this, but I'm just saying when he got shot at, I knew he was gonna win the election. I'm like, Americans are gonna eat this up, like, and they're gonna love this. Like it was the best ploy of all time.
So this was Alycia Baumgardner's first 10-round fight since that 2 years ago, since all that happened. She hasn't gotten a knockdown. Well, technically, yeah, she dropped Delphine Persoon in that last fight in the first round, but it was a no contest. And Persoon also, like, she was the mandatory challenger. She also had like a knee brace. She was in her early 40s. She looked slow. Like it just didn't. She didn't look the way in that fight that she does in Undisputed, is what I'll say. And then before this, like the Michaela Mayer win was debated by a lot of people. I remember thinking Alycia Baumgardner as that one out, but I remember that was somewhat controversial. But the big breakout win for her is Terry Harper, which is a win that I think has aged actually pretty well.